The team is as follows from fullback through to the front row. Rob Carney, Andrew Trimble, Jared Payne, Robbie Henshaw, Simon Zebo, Jonathan Sexton, Connor Murray, Jamie Heaslip, Sean O'Brien, CJ Stander, Devon Toner, Donica Ryan, Tyg Furlong, Rory Best, captain, and Jack McGrath. And the replacements are Sean Cronin, Ken Healy, Finlay Beelam, Ian Henderson, Josh van der Fleer, Kieran Marmion, Paddy Jackson, and Gary Ringrose.
So is anyone injured that
There's a few guys who haven't been able to train fully this week. Alton Delan just has had a bit of a sore knee. We've had it checked out. There's nothing serious there. He should be fully ready to go next week. He put in a super shift coming off the bench in Chicago and obviously last weekend. Keith Earls hasn't trained so far this week with mostly just a dead leg, so he'll be fine for next week. And Peter O'Mahony didn't manage to see out training on Monday. Trained fully today, but we wanted to give some clarity before training, and we had fit players, and so we've gone with those players.
Joe, ultimately, what did it come down to in selecting Sean O'Brien?
We thought it was probably better that Sean start than come off the bench. He needs a bit of to feel his way into the game a little bit, to get a run straight from the warm-up into the game, whereas Josh has been fit and with us for a bit longer, obviously came to Chicago, spent that time with us and did such a good job off the bench that his versatility, his engine at the end of the day might serve us well. So it was really just trying to keep the balance there.
Steve Hansen suggested you might have a trick or two up your sleeve. Any ideas as to how you go about beating the All Blacks for the second half?
No, I don't really think we've got that many new tricks, other than we've played in a similar sort of rhythm with minor amendments week to week for the last certainly since the World Cup, through the World Cup. We made a few amendments prior to the World Cup, and we've pretty much played in that same fashion. So I don't think there's going to be anything massively different. We'll see what the conditions bring as well. That may influence exactly how and what we try to do. But I've no doubt there'll be some tough tasks, and I'm pretty sure Steve himself has got a few tricks up his sleeve. A couple of boys at about 6'7" are good tricks to pull out of your pocket, particularly the quality they are. I think they're super players, so that's going to be a huge challenge for us.
Joe, Steve Hansen also said that they were the underdogs. This is the first time I've heard back-to-back world champions who just come off an 18-game winning run referred to as underdogs. Do you see it that way?
You'd love to think that way, wouldn't you? But I wouldn't suggest that he become a bookmaker. I think we're at about 6-1. Not that we're allowed to indulge in that, but it's probably better than the 12 or 13-1 we were in Chicago. So maybe comparatively we're a little bit better off. But you certainly wouldn't put us as favourites. And I agree with your summation. Really, a team that have won 18 in a row against some of the best teams in the world and done it by some margin. I think everyone is due a hiccup, and I felt we deserved to get our nose in front when we did. The players really rolled their sleeves up and hung in and managed to kind of protect the lead that we had. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to afford us any head starts this weekend.
Johnny, in Chicago, it was very much a question of taking the game to the All Blacks and really front foot ball and attacking, almost all out attacking. That's going to be the tactic again Saturday?
Again, the conditions depending. Look, if you sit back against them, like we did at times, they punish you. So, it's easier said than done. But we have to try and keep attacking when we can, with and without the ball. And that'll be part of the plan this week. If how we attack them will depend on the conditions, really.
Johnny, clearly you go into every game believing you can beat the opposition. But is there a difference when you actually know you can beat them because you've done it?
Yeah, it is a little bit of a monkey off the back by getting that first victory against them. We're very much, I know we always say it, a performance-driven team. Even though we got the win, The review was still pretty harsh. You know, we feel we can be better, which is a good thing. We know they will be a lot better. So we'll just go out, try and, you know, implement our game plan again, put in the best performance we can, and we'll see where that gets us against the All Blacks, who will definitely turn up again on the day.
So was there mind games from Steve Hansen with what to say, you know, saying that they're underdogs?
Me?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I know Steve pretty well. I think he's kind of based on a recent result. He's put his summation on that. Look, I don't think he believes that we'll pay too much heed to that, because we know the quality they are, and you know, and part of that quality is their coaching team. I'd be a big admirer of some of the people who are involved there. I learnt a lot of some of the people who are involved there. So you know, I think that they are still in a really strong position. But I'd agree with Johnny that we just want to try to focus on our own performance, try to use Chicago as a reference point to try to progress further. I certainly don't believe that there was any disrespect from the All Blacks or arrogance from the All Blacks. I think that's one ex-player shooting from the hip and completely unaware of the feeling within the camp. We feel that they were very tough to beat last time, and they're going to be tougher to beat this time. So, you know, I think from us, we've got huge respect for them, and you know, how could you not have the respect for them? Last two World Cups that they've won, some of the margins they've put on incredibly good teams. You know, teams that beat us recently, like South Africa. You know, to put 50 points on South Africa in South Africa, you can't do that unless you're a super team.
Johnny, Irish teams you played on in the past have struggled to back up with really great performances. Is that gone? Are those days past now, do you think? Have you set a base level from Chicago that you are going to...
We've shown at times that we have got over that. You know, last November we beat South Africa and Australia back to back, and we've had other victories back to back. But yeah, there is still an element we've spoken about a little bit about needing to back it up. But really, again, that's performance driven in that regard. Turning up on the day, making sure emotionally, physically that we are ready to go in the same frame of mind as we were last time, and then the result will come after that. But that's all we can influence at the moment, and it's what we talk about.
And have you got the depth, like Joe's spoken before about having to be 3 deep in every position for Ireland to get to be up there with New Zealand and all the best teams in the world? Do you feel like that's happening in the squad? You've got depth in every position across 3, 4
I think it definitely happened through the Six Nations and through the summer tour with the amount of injuries that we had to sort of senior players, especially in the Six Nations, and then a little bit again in South Africa, that we built a good bit of depth. And there was, I would say, some tough decisions this week for the coaching staff. Guys really stood up against Canada for large parts of the game, and yeah, it's great that we're starting to build that, and we're going to need it for the next World Cup, and for before that even for Six Nations, where we want to achieve things still.
Okay, we'll go around here and then back to the rim. Thanks.
Is this the ultimate test then, trying to back up the Chicago again this weekend?
I think it absolutely is. I don't think you can get a tougher test, because, you know, I think that they are unhappy, obviously. When you win 18 in a row and you get into that habit, you're not happy to lose that. And I know that, you know, they were quite outspoken about being driven to continue that through to the end of the calendar year, and that hasn't happened for them, so they want to get straight back on track. And with the talent they have, it's going to be incredibly tough to stop them doing that. But we've tried to kind of internalise a couple of lessons that we learnt in Chicago, and we've stayed pretty much focused on ourselves and what we can try to manage, obviously with an awareness of the quality of some of the players they're bringing in that didn't play us last time, obviously the second rows, but also you know, Israel Dag, Anton Leonard-Brown, those guys are new to the group after Chicago.
Johnny, when they got those 3 second half tries, those in stand were having flashbacks to 2013. What was different about Ireland this time around?
We just got back to the plan, and you know, there was some good plays by the lads that got us back down there, and then we took our chances. You know, obviously Robbie with that great finish off the set play. You know, that's really it. You know, we just stayed. When we sat back, it was when we got ourselves into trouble, and then when the guys took the front foot again, we got back down into their territory and were really clinical. So I would say that. And you saw, you know, at times our defence was obviously a lot better, and at other times when we made those system errors, we got punished.
Okay, sorry guys, we're going to finish the back there, thanks.
Sorry, you guys talk a lot about intent this week, but imagine intent with the execution. I suppose the way a lot of people always think the Irish team comes out passionately but doesn't last the whole way. It's good to have found a balance there. What was the key to finding a balance between sort of passion and intent and being clinical?
I think it's just, as Johnny said, it's performance based, it's process driven, that you try to be accurate, no matter what time of the match it is, and you don't get too far ahead of yourself. So for us, we have a number of things that we want to achieve this weekend, and we hope that if we can achieve those things, then the result looks after itself. Now, unfortunately, when you play a team like the All Blacks, that still may not be enough, but again, for us, it's about building and trying to make sure that we achieve in a few different areas. I mean, one of the places that we're going to have to be super this weekend, I think, is the set piece. It's a place where the All Blacks have put a lot of pressure on. You know, you go back right to the start of the championship, Australia have an attacking line out on the 22. The All Blacks grab it, Aaron Smith puts it out on the halfway, so the Australians have a line out on the halfway, the All Blacks grab it, they go away and score a try. Now, there's a lot that has to happen before they score that try, but it's those access points that you've got to make sure you try to look after. It's the same with the scrum pressure they can sometimes put on, and we know about their counter-attack. They tend to squeeze teams really well, sort of suffocate them. You know, you saw them kick a heck of a lot against Italy, and then Italy slowly but surely forced and pressured into errors, and the All Blacks benefit from them because they don't need too many invitations. They are normally really clinical, and probably looking back at Chicago, there's a couple of times where they drop balls, and Test matches are so finely balanced that you know, there was one down the left wing at one stage at 33-29, where if the pass had been held, perhaps the whole result would have been different. So, you know, they're the fine margins that we can't necessarily control. We can only try to probably limit their access points and maximise ours.
Okay.